Hello and welcome to the Royal Survivor 45 podcast. I am your host, King, joined here by my mother.
Hello.
How are you doing, Mother?
I'm good. How are you?
This game breaks your heart, Mom.
Yeah.
Just like your phone notifications, it breaks my heart, so.
It's disappointing, yeah.
So, episode 11 of Survivor 45.
Yes.
We get back from Tribal,
Okay.
mostly.
Yeah, we get back, and Emily pretty much tells the group what she did.
Yeah, everybody's celebrating, kind of like we got the hurdle out of the way, which was Bruce.
Mhm.
And yeah, she tells everybody, I'm the one who convinced them to not play as idol and thought there was a plan and all that good stuff.
Right, Bruce.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And so at first everyone's like, oh, that was great. You did great. And then immediately they go, oh, she's making moves.
Yeah. She's a threat.
Yeah. So that was something, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. The fact that that was a moment when she told them, and their eyes just all got wide, and they, it was all like, oh,
because nobody believed he was not going to play the idol, and
Yeah.
she kind of convinced him not to, or made him comfortable enough not to. So.
Yeah, big move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was points for Emily.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't much at night, really, other than just them celebrating, it seemed. I know the next day, like in the morning, Austin and Dee are sitting around each other, and we basically get a little montage of their showmance that's going on. And
Right.
they outright say, like, you're my number one, you're my number one. Austin talks about how he remembers how much he enjoyed watching Rob and Amber form their first a partnership, and then it blossomed into an actual romance.
Mm-hmm.
And how Dee even tells him, yeah, I said no showmance, that wouldn't happen, and here we are, and I don't know, they're like I keep saying, they're starry-eyed with each other. It's not like they're like kissing and stuff, you only know this person like 20 days, but they do really seem to like one another, so.
Yes, and what I said is Dee and Austin more than friends, because I saw too they were holding hands. I don't know if you saw that.
I maybe did. I'm not sure, actually.
When they were laying on the beach and they're just kind of looking at one another and talking about things, and he's talking about Rob and Amber. And
yeah.
There was a point where they were holding hands, and I'm like, you do that with that's intimate.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're two women, or you're like. Women when they're besties, they tend to hold hands. Bestie guys don't hold hands.
No, I've never held a guy's hand.
Yeah, so when you're, like that kind of told me they're more than friends, or their feelings are more than friendly.
Right, yeah. There's definitely something a connection forming between the two of them that isn't just, hey, we need to work together. They genuinely like each other as people and everything. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to more on that later. So Katurah, she can really celebrate. Did you know Katurah wanted to get rid of Bruce?
No, really?
Because her character arc has come full circle. Like, I don't even know why she's still there. They can just pay her to leave at this point. So, because that's all we know her for. Well, until this episode.
Yes. We learned a lot more about her.
She says it all in one sentence.
Yeah, she's talking to Jake and Julie on the beach. And what it is like she even says, I feel more comfortable talking with them and building these relationships, and thinks that this is the time to do that. So she talks about her quote unquote religious cult life.
This was very shocking to hear about. Yeah.
Yes. She, as a child, her and her family more or less went into a cult.
A cult, yeah. Because at first she made it just sound like a religious thing, but then she outright says, no, they're like secretive and like, yeah, I mean, well, the big thing was when she was like 13, she said the leader told her mom, yeah, she's going to be his wife.
Yes.
That's disgusting. So that's not some regular religion. It's one of the where they just drag people in. And that's like the one thing that made her mother like go, okay, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And now that further explains why she cut ties with her mom a year ago. It could link to that or whatever.
Yeah, well, it could definitely link to that. But because that's when I heard that, I'm like, wait, her mom got her out of it.
Yeah.
Or, just said that, oh no, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is she talked about how, she worked as a child
Mhm.
within there and never went to school.
Yeah.
And she got teary-eyed about that,
Mhm.
And so when they finally did get out of it, then at 14, she's going to high school,
Yeah.
you know.
She hasn't had a normal childhood.
Right, and then goes on to say that she I guess when she got out of high school, she's black,
Mhm.
she's poor, a woman,
Mhm.
and gay.
Which we didn't, well, because she never shared anything, so we
No.
don't know. That's part of, and that's what she chose. She didn't want, the only thing we knew about her was she was a lawyer and a woman, and a black woman,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but she didn't go in depth like that with anybody or anything. She didn't even let anybody know she was a lawyer
Right.
for so long, because and I get why she did that, but it isn't until now that we finally find out her story and everything. Her they call them the sob story, not to make light of it. It is a very serious thing, but where they share this emotional part of their life or whatever with the show and the audience and everything.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's terrible what she went through, and she seems very, I don't know how to word it.
Strong.
Yeah, very strong and completely, normal or well adjusted. That's what I'm looking for. What she went through and everything. Like, she doesn't seem like haunted by it so much as
Yeah.
it sure isn't easy to talk about, but still just like, it seems like she's completely overcome that time. So.
Yeah. Well, and then she be a lawyer, but I didn't know what kind, and it's to advocate for black people. for
Which
black
is
people.
which is
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so, yeah. So
Now
that
we-
was very interesting.
now I know a lot more about Katura than she wanted to get rid of Bruce so I can stop making fun of it,
And that she was a lawyer but didn't tell anybody she was
Yeah,
a lawyer.
that's literally the only two things we ever knew about her. So,
Right.
so now we have more to go on. But
Right.
So yeah, she was talking with them and opened up, which was nice to see. And yeah, I was not expecting that kind of a explanation into herself.
No. I kind of had a feeling it wasn't a great life,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. So anyways, a boat comes at some point, right?
Yes, a boat comes and they give them a letter,
Mm-hmm.
which I think Jake reads.
Yeah.
And it says that one person has to go on a journey,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to go,
Of course.
but then finds out they all want to go.
Pretty much everybody wants to
At
go,
this
yeah.
stage of the game, 7 of them,
Mm-hmm.
they know there could be an advantage,
Mm-hmm.
so they end up drawing rocks.
Yeah, the boat guy, because you got to read the note, because the boat guys never talk.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
they pull out, a bag, and there's like one certain colored rock, and the rest look all the same. So everyone reaches in, draws out, and
Yeah, Emily draws the green rock.
right. And they ask her, "Do you want to go?" And she's like, "Yeah, I want to go." So she goes, and it is, I mean, as we know in these excursions, they always get some kind of chance at an advantage or whatever.
Yeah.
And we saw it at the beginning. It's the strong and smart puzzle or whatever the thing is called. It's like a bunch of rings at various heights with like a rope around them, and you need to get the rope like through them and like off of them in like a couple minutes. They did it at the beginning and none of them got it.
Right.
The note even says 4 people have tried and failed this season. Do you want to give it a go? You got like 3 minutes or whatever. If you get it, you're immune. Then the next tribal. If you fail, you lose your vote.
Right.
So that's a pretty tough situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, I actually thought she might have gone for it because I know she said she's bad at math,
Right.
but I thought, because she seems to be very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Especially when she says, "Oh, I'm no good at math." That surprised me.
Me too.
But this is a type of puzzle where you really got to think, and it's not numbers.
No, it's
So I thought she might have gone for it, but she chose not to.
she didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah,
so,
she felt her vote was more important than taking that risk.
chance and immunity.
Yeah.
Which I understand. Sometimes it's like, well, you have this opportunity, you might as well just take it or whatever, but sometimes it's smart to not take that risk. And I wasn't we see like some people saying, "Hey, Emily's a threat." So we think, "Oh, maybe she should have gone for it." But at the same time, she she doesn't know that, and it makes sense to me because, 7 people, that's only 7 votes. So if you lose one, it gets real sketchy real quick. So,
ties and rocks,
drawn
possibly.
rocks, yeah. So she doesn't go.
Right.
She ends before she comes back, people start strategizing, and Dee wants Emily gone. A couple people say that, but Dee and Julie basically go, we should get rid of Emily. Because she's going to start looking good. She's in nice with everybody, all that stuff.
The move she just made on
right,
Bruce,
that too, yeah. And of course, so that's going on, and Drew ends up sitting down with, I'm just calling them the people on the out, which is Katurah and Jake. And he's like, what are you guys thinking? And they're like, as long as it's not us kind of thing.
Right.
It's so that's what makes this boring to me. It's not that there's a dominant alliance. It's that there's an obvious dominant alliance, and all the people out of it aren't trying anything. It has to be someone in the alliance going to them and going, what if we get rid of someone in my alliance? So, and to Drew's credit, I think he has to be the one to make a move like that, because I think out of the 4 of them, he has the weakest shot at winning. So if they go Final 4, if he doesn't lose at the fire-making challenge, it's going to be harder for him to make a case compared to the others, I think. So
yeah. I mean, at that point, Katurah, she didn't say Julie. I can't remember. I thought she brought up Julie.
She brings it up to Emily, I know, saying we should. Yeah, that's right. I think that was actually the previous time even they were talking about it, and she's like, yeah, everyone likes Julie. She could win or whatever. She brought that. She does bring that up, but only to Emily, I know.
Okay.
Drew's the one who sits down with the 2 of them and says, they're like, well, give us a name. And he's like, I'd be fine with getting rid of Julie. And they're like, this time? And he's like, yeah, because she could possibly beat everybody because she's just so pleasant to be around and everything.
Yeah.
And so they start making this plan. They're going to rope in Emily. He goes to Austin and, because it's funny. Austin is Drew's number 1 still, but then Austin is D is his number 1, so a lot of people, but then I think Julie is Dee's number 1, so everybody thinks they're in tight with somebody who's in tighter with somebody else, so we'll see how that goes. But so he goes to Austin and says, Julie is a threat. She could win, she's gotten votes and survived already, that kind of thing. So, and that puts Austin in the predicament of if he wants to tell Dee or not, his girlfriend. So.
Yeah, well, that's the only problem he has with it, because it'll hurt Dee.
And that's almost like the big conundrum of the whole episode is, does Austin tell Dee or not? Because if he doesn't, this is another thing, Julie has one of Austin's immunity idols. He gave it to her to protect her when she wasn't around him, where he could play it for her. But now apparently she's kind of considered it as her own and hasn't given it back. And now that they want to get rid of her, he feels awkward. I don't know why he didn't ask for it back immediately after. This is I like Austin as a guy, but he's made 2 dumb mistakes in a row here. One, well, the first thing is he didn't ask for it back immediately. That's what I would have done. I'd be like, all right, can I have mine back now? And then if you need it again, I just give it to you. He didn't think, he got too comfortable and didn't think to ask for it back.
Or, excuse me, he did think about that and thought it would piss her off.
I guess, but yes. But now he thinks that now and goes, well, now I really can't ask her because she'll get suspicious.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. She's saying it as, yeah, this is my idol. No, it's not. No. He gave it to you, honey. So,
yeah.
I don't know. But whatever. She's not in any, unless she's not, it's in her possession now. So, because he gifted it to her. The other dumb thing was he has his amulet idol, which is good till Final 6. Well, she has the sacrifice your vote idol that lasts till Final 5. Why the hell did he give her the better one? Is my other thing.
Yeah.
I know it's subtle, but it's a 1 vote difference. Why'd you give her the better one? So
yeah.
I thought about that too. I know it's just a 1 vote difference, but it could make a difference. And if you got, this is a bit of extreme, but if I got the idol that saves you before the vote and then the idol that saves you after you've already been voted off or something, why would I ever give somebody that one? That's the one I'm wearing around my neck. kind of thing. So I know this is, it's not that much of an extreme, but still, one's better than the other.
Yes.
Why would you give somebody the better one?
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't realize one could be used after the vote. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean in a situation like that, not in this situation. I just
Mhm.
mean in general. In this one, it's either final 6 or final 5.
Oh, so it can't be used after the
No,
vote.
no, I'm just.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying, like, okay, there's the extreme version. Why would you ever give someone that really good one?
Right.
But here, the one he has, he's like, I can only use it till final 6. Well, that means if she hangs on to it till final 5, she has that one.
Yeah.
Why would it not be the other way around?
Right.
So, yeah, that wasn't very bright of them. So they're worried about that. Emily ends up coming back from her excursion, and she
Mhm.
tells everybody the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Which, this is gonna go into how I feel about this later in the episode, but she tells them the truth, and we see Dee again. Finally, we haven't been seeing much of her. We're finally seeing more of her, and she goes, I don't trust that. Whatever, do I have right to believe that? How do we know she did it and has an advantage now or something?
Yeah.
And that's the problem when you go on the excursion. You don't know what the person did. She told them the honest truth, and people who trust her will trust her, and people who don't know her that well will just go, yeah, she's probably got something now. She's dangerous.
Right.
You at least
right.
have to think that way to be smart. So, that's points against Emily now. Even though she was honest, points for, but points against her because people are like, well, you still win on the journey. So.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I get, that's a tough one. You think by being honest, you're
That's good.
winning.
Yeah.
But you're not really thinking they're not going to believe you.
You could just be a really good liar to them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, look what she did to Bruce. There's your proof right there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they know what she's capable of. And of course, when she comes back, she walks up to Drew. It seems like he's her closest confidant.
Yeah.
He says, they're making a move against you. So, and he's like, but we're going to try and make a move against Julie. Well, she brings that up to him and says, we should do Julie. And he was already kind of thinking that, it seems. So,
Mhm.
and then, Katurah brings it up with Austin. And he's like, I think Drew would be on board. And Drew is already planning on talking to him. And so they're planning that. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about.
Well,
for
and
that.
then Austin does talk to Dee.
He does. Does he tell her that before or after the challenge? I'm just trying to go in order of events here, but was it before? It might have been before.
I think it was before.
Okay. He does eventually decide. They said that he was going to hold off, but eventually he does grab her and say, hey,
That was a very awkward conversation. He did not know how to tell her.
No. Well, as he was doing it, I was thinking of how he could go about it, and I'm like, I think my way's better. So, because he said, he's like, do I tell her, and how do I tell her? And I get his conundrum, the fact that regardless of the romantic shit, they're still allies. And if he takes out the person she's been closest with and says, yeah, we're cool, I just lied to you and said we're voting with you instead of against you, how could she trust him from then on?
Yeah.
And so I get that.
Right.
When I looked online, people were going, well, he just chose the cute Hispanic girl over the $1 million, it looks like. So they're overreacting. I think he was in a bad spot no matter. If he tells her, he can screw the plan. If he doesn't tell her, he screws his alliance with her. So
Mhm.
it's not great. And that's the downside to when you start turning on your own alliance. How personal do people take it and stuff?
Yes.
I think it's okay that he told her. There's a better way he could have told her, though. He sits there with her and says, even if you and I don't vote for Julie, because she's like, I'm not voting Julie, even if you vote for her. And he's like, I don't want to vote for Julie. But he says, even if you and I don't vote for her, pretty sure she goes home anyway.
Mhm.
Why'd you word it that way? You pick her brain at it and go, how would you feel if people were talking about Julie? And then you try and reason with her to see if she'd vote with you. And if she don't, go, well, maybe we can spin it on Emily. Don't say it's happening no matter what.
Right.
That's how I do
kind
it.
of telling her this is the way it is.
And that's what he said. He basically said Drew, so calling him out and saying everyone else is going to vote for her anyway. She'd have to. I think he's even the one to say she'd have to play her idol.
Mhm.
I think he says it. Why would you say that, Austin? He's trying too hard to be the nice guy at this point.
Yeah.
To where his game is, I mean, him and her have already told each other, if I can't win, I hope it's you. So
Yeah.
they're already at that point.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I just feel there's a better way to keep her trust, but make her not even tell Julie and be like, well, maybe we'll just flip it, and then you keep Julie comfortable, because then what does Dee do? She goes and tells Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and decides it's better for her to tell Julie than and say, if it comes down to this, you got to play your idol.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Austin's idol, but yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's what irks me. It's like, it's my idol. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So you didn't find it.
The gall. That's,
I don't like that about her. She was cocky to where it's like, they don't know I have an idol. It's not your idol, but yes, you can use it. But she acts like she found it. and stuff. He's the
Mhm.
one who got it. So,
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm getting at. It's like the 4 no, he put the idol in her bag
yes.
for the time when they weren't together
Mhm.
and she could possibly get voted off.
Yes.
It was like when they were split into 3-3-3.
Mm-hmm.
So even when D said, you got to play your idol,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm over here going, it's not hers to play,
Yeah.
you know.
But that's
And-
how the rules go. If you go take this idol, they can use it.
Yeah, no, I understand,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and yeah, we went over that really, but it does irk me.
Oh yeah, no, I don't like. Yeah,
I don't think I could keep it. I really don't. He earned that, however he got that one, and was
Hmm.
trying to save me.
yes. Well, and that's you being really nice though, and so that's her having the gall and everything.
Yeah.
I don't like that she acts like it's hers but at the same time, I blame him for not asking for it back. And
Yeah.
if I was in her position and someone goes, take this idol, and just in case, I'd say, great, thanks. The minute they ask for it back, here you go. I'm not going to fight them for it.
Right,
I'd give it
right.
right back.
Right.
But if they don't ask me for it, I'd hold on to it.
Okay.
And in her defense, he's now trying to take her out. He didn't get it away from her, so of course she's going to use it to try and save herself. Think about it like that. You find out the guy that just gave it to you is now trying to take you out. You're not going to want to use it against him, you know? So
Yeah, looking at it that way, right.
I
Yeah.
don't like her attitude about it going, well, they don't know I have this idol.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not your idol. That we keep rehashing
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't like it. The strategy I get, if he didn't ask for it back, that's on him. But her acting about it is what bothers me. So, I
Okay.
mean, there's more to all that, but we do have to get to the challenge first.
Yeah. Okay. It's immunity and reward.
We've seen this challenge before. Most of it. The last part, no, but we've seen this before. I think it was on Second Chance and stuff. Yeah, immunity and reward. The reward is barbecue at camp.
Yes.
Okay.
A do-it-yourself barbecue where they cook the food.
Right.
You know.
So we've seen this challenge before. You're tied to a rope, and it's in like this little jungle gym thing that's all wrapped around. You have more than enough rope, and you have to decide how much of it you want to untangle to get through this like obstacle course. Then you do some hurdles, over and under, something like that.
Yes.
Excuse me. And then that was a hiccup more than anything.
To reach sandbags.
Yeah,
You have to unknot
Yeah, you get 3 sandbags and you throw them and knock over blocks.
with letters on them.
Right. We've seen this challenge before, but the challenge ends when you knock all the blocks over.
Yeah.
This time they have letters on them because there's another part where you put the letters to form a word. It's a puzzle. I've never seen this before though, where there are blocks and you have to piece them in like an arch. So while you're putting them together, you have to keep them from falling.
Right.
You know, they don't just stack up somewhere.
It's a big word.
Yeah,
You know.
I think it's resourcefulness.
Fitness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
resourcefulness.
Yeah.
And the other twist is the blocks have the letters on both sides, so you need to match them so it says the word on both sides.
Right.
So, it's pretty complex.
Yes.
Most people, take off a little too early and they don't have enough rope. Drew, who's normally pretty bad in physical situations, Jeff's like, Drew taking the lead, and you even hear him go, "Oh, I'm in the lead!" Like,
Yeah.
he can be a little arrogant strategy wise, but when it comes to challenges, he's like, "Oh, I don't have the confidence,"
Yeah.
So he was like, I could feel his like, "I'm in the lead. This is crazy," And he ends up throwing the sandbags, and he can only get 2 back because he can't get far enough to get the rest. And Jeff's like, as long as you can knock the blocks over, it don't matter how many you have.
And can reach the ones you threw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets there pretty early, Austin gets there pretty early, and Jake gets there. But the guys get there pretty early. The girls take a little more time to collect their rope. Dee eventually catches up and everything. And I think Katurah catches up. I think Emily and Julie never even make it that far.
Right.
So,
Right.
and so they knock the blocks over. They start building. Drew keeps collapsing as he's trying to form the word. Austin actually gets it at first. He gets the word, but Jeff looks at it and tells him it's both sides. And then Austin just stands there and looks at it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he registered both sides. He's just like, oh, I got it wrong. What did I get wrong? And he's looking at the word like, no, this is a word though.
Yeah, he should have taken it down right there, because when you looked at the opposite side, it was a mess.
Yeah, it was. I don't think he knew it had to be on both sides.
Yeah.
I think he was still and you're starving and all worn out and all that. I don't think he's thinking that or whatever.
Yeah.
But eventually, Drew is able to piece it all together. Jeff's like, Drew wins it because he got it on both sides. Then Drew punches it in celebration, which I don't blame him for being excited.
Yeah.
You know, that's the time to celebrate, not when you vote someone off, when you win immunity like that.
Yes.
So, and he's all happy. Everybody congratulates him. Before people used to look pissed in old seasons. Now everybody's just like, great job, you know, and it's like, man, it's like, I want the necklace, you know. Not that I'd say anything mean, but like they're all celebrating. And so he was genuinely like surprised. Good for Drew. You know, he won immunity, so he is now safe.
Yes.
So yeah, we get back and it's basically coming down between Emily and Julie.
Excuse me, but we didn't talk about the reward.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So he gets to pick, well, first one person.
Yes.
And he actually picks Jake first.
Who he said is the other person who hasn't gotten the reward recently.
Right.
And I think that was a smart move because you know, they fought and stuff before and he's trying to kind of win him back, and Jake almost looked like he'd cry. He was really happy about it.
Yeah, I think whenever it comes to food, these people are ready to cry because they're so darn hungry. And then he picks his buddy when he says, Guys Night 2.0.
That's what happened last time. It's all, and the girls seem fine with it. They all got the previous one. Now all the guys get one.
Yes.
So I get that.
So now when we get back.
Yes, the four, I found this funny. The four women go to have a spa day in the ocean, and so they're cleaning themselves up. And I do love that Katurah says, we basically have nothing to talk about strategy-wise. She's like, so we start just looking at our buff. Someone goes, oh, made in Spain. Oh, I'm like, this is so bland.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then someone throws out Jake's name because it's easy. But they're, you know, and then Emily's like, well, it's 2 versus 2. The 2 of us want Julie and the 2 of them want me. You know, we got to wait for the guys to come back.
Yes.
So it gets a little more exciting when we see the guys gorging themselves, you know, on nice looking barbecue. They're having a great time. And they bring up to Jake, they're like, what are you thinking? And, you know, he's like, well, I'd rather get rid of one of the ladies, you know. And they bring up Julie to him, and he's like, I'd do that. And he even says, I feel like, he compares it to acting. He's like, I feel like I was playing the tree for a while, but now I feel like I'm more of a supporting role, which as long as I'm moving on, and that's true. People need his vote now more than ever, so he can kind of capitalize on it. You know, he's still there, so he's more of a player and less of a pawn, so... And he seems to be on board, so
yeah, I think once as long as it's not him, you know, and I really believe he deserves to still be there, because he's been the underdog, you know,
he's scrapping along,
fighting all the way,
you know? He doesn't have the power, but he's hanging on by a thread, kind of thing, so eventually, Dee tells Julie and says you got to put on your biggest acting face, and when Julie finds out Drew and Austin are pushing it, she gets mad.
Yeah.
She's like, face me at the end like we said we were gonna. Don't do this. You know, so Dee says, we're all gonna vote for you. I'm gonna vote for you. You play your idol and vote out Emily because she's a big threat. Because people like her and everything.
However, Julie wants to vote out Austin.
And says
she's pissed.
Yeah. And says it would make more sense to flip the tables on him, you know, and which I find Dee tells her, but he's my number one.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now that, I don't care how good at this game she's been, that was stupid to say. Because I thought, well, she says they're both her number ones, but she tells them, and Julie goes, Julie's like, yeah, but I hate being told what to do. And Dee was telling her what the move to make, which I get it, you want to be in control, but yeah, that wasn't very smart of her because Julie could flip, you know, at that point and go, what's to make me not take out her number one now, you know? But Dee's saying Austin doesn't want to vote you. He just feels like that's the way it's going. We got to take out somebody that outright wants you out, kind of thing. So, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Here's my thing about this before we even get to tribal. So, Austin's up for voting Julie off. Drew's up for it. Why the hell do they not tell one of the other 3 Julie has an idol in her possession? Because none of the other 3 know she has it. Julie at one point even tells 2 of them, like, how'd you guys feel like making a move against Austin? And she's like, they're not gonna, because they think that they're fine going with the majority. She even says, they don't know I have an idol. So, this person has an idol. You want to keep her comfortable. Why don't you tell them that? Because then, my thought is you have 5-2. And according to Austin, Dee would vote Julie anyway, which she winds up doing. But or that's her plan. But what I'm getting at is, then take that. If there's a threat of an idol, why don't you tell one of them throw a vote? Well, Austin wouldn't. I was gonna say throw a vote on Dee, because then if there's a tie with the idol played, you could vote out Dee. Austin wouldn't make that plan, and it seems like Drew doesn't want to try and take that chance. But then I don't know, maybe tell Emily to throw her vote on Jake or something then. That's my thought, because they know she has an idol, and if everybody votes for her, then she picks who goes home.
No, that's true. I didn't think of it like that, and apparently they weren't either.
Which is bad, in my opinion, to not think about that.
Yeah.
Because then you're just gambling she doesn't play the idol.
They, I guess, assumed she felt safe.
Yeah.
With her alliance.
But Austin says he tells Dee, and he's like, I don't think Dee would have told her. Really? You don't think she'd tell her? He could see she's like, no, I don't want... She did respond to Julie is a threat, and like, I know I have to turn on them at some point. But they've been buddies the whole time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It seems like a lot of risk... people are saying it's bad moves taken. I don't think it was necessarily bad moves. It was... People were making a lot of risky... It was risky to not try and put a vote on someone else to try and tie it. Because if Julie votes for one of the four, like say she voted for Austin, well then if the vote's on Jake or something, not that I want it to be Jake, I'm just saying if they put a vote on him, then it can tie and they can all vote for Jake, no matter what Julie wants. So I don't know. I just... It seemed like a lot of risky moves were taken, which could backfire, and then there was no backup plan. So people weren't thinking it through fully. So
No.
my head's starting to burn trying to work through everything. I'm not even on the island. So anyway, it was at least very interesting to see where everything was going for once, especially when the potential for the alliance to break up happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to Tribal, and one thing I'll point out is, Drew's known for using these really big words and being overly, zealous, and he just tells Jeff, oh, it feels great to have the necklace on and be safe, and Jeff's like, wow, that's the shortest answer. So then he makes, he quotes, history from 100 years ago, and the jury goes, ugh! I swear, those idiots think they know that if you react really over the top, the camera's going to keep panning over to you. It seems like they're camera pandering to me, so it's kind of annoying me. But instead of just...
Kelly,
specifically, I keep losing respect for her. Although this does sound exciting, it sounds like we're going to have a bitter jury at this point. Depending on who's in Final 3, it seems like Kelly and Kendra are going to try and rip into them. If they don't, I'm gonna be mad because it'll make for good drama, But I can't. Kelly was so calm and now she just I lost. Meh. That's what it feels like. The faces she makes and shit. It's like, get over it.
Yeah.
Sit there, shut up, and watch.
Yeah.
You lost. So
right.
And she got hard blindsided. So just. Not that you can't be upset, but just deal with it. And she doesn't seem to be handling it pretty well. So.
Well, that's her character. That's who she is.
Yeah.
She
I can't believe
doesn't take defeat well.
I can't believe I was ever attracted to her.
Me neither.
Because, well, yeah, she's turned me off to her now with that attitude. So,
yeah.
But anywho, we they end up. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about Tribal.
I just wanted to say about Drew when he did say that. How's it feel? And he goes, well, I feel pretty good with this bad boy around my neck.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would say that. And they kind of laughed at that because he does use, as you said, big words. He's very well spoken, articulate.
Yeah. He's a good narrator.
This bad boy.
I always say I think that's also why he has so many confessionals compared to, we see him talk in his mindset a lot more than a handful of other, we saw a lot of Caleb, Emily, and him, even when he's not a driving fact, the Julie and Dee, these bigger threats, we don't hear a lot from them. Mm-hmm. But I think it's because Drew is such a good narrator at what's going on, so he explains things and all that. But I do think when Jeff asks for more and he gives the quote and everything, I think he was doing it satirically at that point. Obviously that's what they want from me, so now I'm going to be ridiculous with it, which I just found funny rather than him droning on or anything.
Yeah,
so they end up voting, and Jeff and Austin, he gets word that his name's thrown around, so he's like, well, if I feel threatened, I might play my idol too, So Jeff goes, anybody want to play an advantage?
And Julie raises her hand.
Yeah. She's like, Jeff, pick me.
Yeah.
And she plays her idol on herself. And again, with the whole, like, Bruce is like, where did she get that? It's like, oh, if you only knew, it's not that impressive. I mean, it's impressive that she's going to be able to use it to save herself, but it's not impressive because she never even found it, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But the jury's enthralled by this, you know, and everyone else is like, oh, crap. It's like, you didn't account for this possibility?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then I'm just sitting there looking at Austin. Okay, come on, pull yours out now. Because I was afraid.
And he did. My heart was pounding at this point. I'm like, ooh, he didn't play it.
Yeah.
And so out of 7 votes, it is 6 for Julie. So her 1 vote decides. I mean, for me, it was a lose-lose because I like Julie, but out of the 3 options, you have Emily and Austin, who are the 2 that I want to win this, and her. So I really wanted to just be her. She plays her idol, so I'm not happy with either outcome. It's Emily.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
She's not really butthurt about it because of the idol play. She just hugs everybody. But to her credit, she goes, my vote goes to the best player.
Yeah.
You know, she's not voting on who she likes. It's who's most impressive. So,
yes. I give her credit for that. I like that.
And I think Jake says there goes a real badass right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And she really stepped up, you know, who she was and everything.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, you know, she really grew on me really quickly, going from someone so negative and pessimistic to someone who, you know, was a lot kinder and a lot more analytical, but not just like shoving it down your throat with the gameplay and stuff. And she really earned her place there. She survived a tribe falling apart and everything. And we saw a lot of her. And so I remember watching it, and I even said this earlier, but I was like, it's either she's going to just win this and the show is showing you this is her rise to fame, or she is I call them false protagonists, where it's like, oh, this person's really important. Oh, and then they get their head cut off at the end. And it's not actually them. It was this person you didn't see coming kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it wound up being. I was like, because to me, it was like, oh my gosh, if she wins, it's like so obvious because we just see her all the time. The literally only times we never see her is when she wasn't going to tribal, which was almost never. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were just building up her like redemptive story kind of thing. And that's the end of it. So.
Well, what I have to say is, you know, you asked me earlier, I think even before we started talking about it here, my reaction to her getting voted off. Mm-hmm. And yes, she has been one of my top 3.
Right.
All along, ever since she like changed her ways.
Mine was from the very beginning, I think, since we've done this. So.
Okay. I guess it wasn't, I'm sad she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I think she played a great game.
Yeah.
But all I kept thinking was, how did Austin know?
Yeah.
How did he know not to play his idol? And I have a feeling there was a conversation that we weren't let in on where probably Dee said, this is what I told her because she wanted you.
Yeah.
But I said no.
Yeah.
And just do this and we'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's where my mind went after Emily was voted off. I'm like, how did he know not to play it?
Yeah,
when he knew his name was thrown out.
It's possible. I will say I do feel Emily did do a good job, and I was bummed to see her go, but I do think she made some mistakes, like especially towards the end. So the big thing for me was telling them all about what she did to Bruce. And I get why. It's impressive and everything, and be like, I helped with that. And maybe she wasn't really thinking about it, but I feel like she was she wanted to take credit for her move. The problem with that is it instantly paints her as a target.
Yeah.
And she's not in the majority. So
she could have told that at the jury. The final.
At the final. So I think it was a mistake to tell them all that. Yeah. And part of me thinks Bruce seemed to respect what happened to him. So in my mind, because the jury talks to each other. In my mind, I think he maybe tells people, to say, oh, because they probably ask him, why didn't you play your idol? And he goes, Emily made me comfortable. So she's already getting credit with the jury there.
Yeah.
And then that could spread to whoever else gets voted off. So it's a lot you got to think about. And maybe he doesn't say that, but then you could say it at the end too and try and claim it there, because people really respect, it seems the especially in the newer generation, people respect the two biggest things: you owning your game, taking credit for what you made even if you piss people off, and how in control of the votes you were. Those
Mhm.
seem to be the biggest things. Like, they're always important, because if you're always dictating who goes, then people are more like, well, I should vote for the guy who got me off, you know, kind of thing. And people say, oh yeah, I did all this, I take credit, you know, I won all these challenges and stuff, because they always look to see who won the necklace too, I've noticed.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. Who's got it? Yeah.
yeah. And I get that, because if you win a lot of challenges, that's the, you know, the outlast portion, you know, the physicality and all that. So
Right. Right.
so, you know, it's a big part too. I think, you know, people respect those certain things. So I get it. She's trying to own her game, but I think you paint that at the end. That's because when you try to explain yourself, I think that was a mistake. And I personally believe going on the journey was a mistake too. Because I feel like if she said, no, I don't want to go, then they would have just redone it or whatever. I mean, I guess she could have chosen not to draw rocks at all, but that was my thing. Like, I think in the position she was in, if she didn't say what she did about Bruce, she could have kept trying to play it under the radar and maybe shifted more shit towards Julie or something.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, it would have been between like Julie and Jake then. So, so I won't say that's what guaranteed her getting voted out. I just think she maybe, you know, did things. And it's hard to say that, because I keep saying I want these people not in the majority to keep trying to make moves. But I mean moves of trying to break up the majority, not take credit for other good moves, you know, kind of thing. So I'm a little torn on that, you know, but it is what it is at this point. She's out. So,
Yeah.
And she took it in stride. You know, she was happy she just wasn't the first person voted out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, she took it well. Classy.
yeah. So, yeah, after all that, we're down to 6.
Yeah.
And next episode, it looks like supposedly Drew and Julie are going to be going at it, because she knows he was the one rallying people against her. We see him throw the lid of the cooking pot, but you don't hear anything. And they do this thing where they show what looks like really bad stuff going on, and then it barely plays a part. Like in the episode where Drew and Jake have a fight, they make it look like Drew's in the hot seat or whatever, but they literally just have this fight, and then that's the end of it. And it's
it's like an argument.
Yeah, and it's neither of them that wind up getting like voted out. You know, so sometimes they show, so he could be like goofing around throwing the lid. Maybe he's really mad, but I don't know. It like we don't. It doesn't explain a lot.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like he'd do something like that.
He doesn't seem like the guy. I mean, it seems like he could get mad, but like where he'd blow up like that, I will have to wait and see. But it doesn't really seem like any of them have that in them to blow up like that.
Yeah,
so,
to physically throw something.
So there's one last thing I want to touch on is So I've been struggling with how Dee wins, because the show doesn't show a lot of her, you know, and maybe there's not a lot to show. There's been winners who are very subtle, and then they win, and it's not until they interviewed after the game that you go, oh, that's how they won. So, like last season, that Jam, for me, I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than he was funny and likable, how does this guy win? He doesn't seem that clever. But then, after the fact, you find out all the things he did, and you go, oh, that's how he won. And at one point he says, everybody that tried to vote me out, I voted them out, you know. And I saw this, because I always say this, you just watch the show and take that in. I watch the show, but I also am a part of the community, and I see what other people say after I watch the show or the episodes. And I saw a post, you know, they're like, confused about Dee, look at this. And it's images of her. And it's 4 instances where she says, this is who we should get, you know, this is who we should get rid of, or I want this person gone. And then it's the same episode, that person gets voted out. You know, specifically where she goes, well, Kendra's throwing my name around, I want her voted out. You know, it's time to get rid of Bruce, he's a threat, blah, 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 blah. So that's 4 right there that she was, you know, basically saying what she wants, she gets.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big thing. Do you control the vote or not? The majority alliance controls the vote, but she's also sitting with the most power, because although she doesn't have any advantages, she's got 2 people telling her in the majority, I'm never voting you off.
Right.
And so I'm wondering though, they're painting this thing of Austin, he's playing a Rob to where, there's a debate that if Rob took I don't know. I think it was Jenna. If he took her instead, he might have beat her, even though people were mad at him. But because he took Amber and people liked her so much, they for sure voted for her.
Mm-hmm.
At least Sheehan, I remember she raised her hand when Jeff Addison said, I would have changed my vote to Rob if he didn't take Amber.
Mm.
But would Amber have voted for him or not? You don't know, because he said he would have taken her to the end. So, because people say, well, he deserved to win more than her because he made all the moves, but at the same time, she let him take all the heat for it. So, and not that Austin's taking heat for Dee, but she looks more impressive. She looks like a bigger threat than he is to most people. And he's saying, I'm not voting you out. And if I don't win, I'd rather it be you. I'm wondering if the show is trying to show you her voting him off at some point. Because we see so much of what he thinks of her and only a little bit of what she thinks of him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's more into her than she's into him.
I think she could see herself dating him, but she's not letting that get in the way of the game.
Yeah.
She's playing the game, and then if that happens, it happens. For him, he's playing the game, but he'd rather that happen. Him and her, it seems like. And so, because with Emily gone, Austin, despite the choices he's made, I still like him. He's not making the greatest plays, but I still want to see him at the final 3 at least. But I'm finding it harder and harder to see how anyone beats Dee if Dee gets to the end of this. Maybe Julie, because she's so likable. But if we go on, it depends on the jury. Like, Caleb seems like he's going to go off of who played the best. Emily, too. I don't know about the others. You know, like, Julie's saying, oh, it hurt to vote off the first jury members. So will they buy that? If they don't buy it, then they're voting for Dee. So the way I see this going now is based on who's playing the best. Dee's owning her game. She's controlling the vote. And I'm starting to see why everyone's so high on her. And maybe she just doesn't talk about that in confessionals a lot. Like, she really doesn't. She's more personable in the confessionals and stuff. I'm really starting to see it come full circle where she tries to ensure Austin is not her competition. And she goes with Julie to the end and then just whoever else. That's what I'm seeing right now, where maybe I'm wrong and she wants to go with the two of them. But to me, it almost seems like at some point she'll go, sorry, Austin, and he'll overplay his hand or whatever and he'll suffer for it. Technically, Austin says he's playing his vote next time. So or his idol, my bad. So he'll for sure make final 5. What happens after that? I feel like he has the best shot at winning maybe the fire making. I don't know, because he's, I think he does that. So we've seen the others practice a little and stuff. I don't know. I'm at the point where right now, if Dee makes it to final 3, I think she wins. So maybe not in a landslide, but I think okay, I won't say guarantee, but I'll say she has the best shot at winning. So
okay,
that's what I'm feeling right now. I don't know what you're feeling. Well, how about we do our thing? Well, I'll ask you first. 6 people left. 3 people of the 6 who you either want to see win or you just think can win. So
okay, want to see win. Who I would love to see win is Austin first.
Okay.
I'd love to see Jake win.
Okay. I know he's been growing on you, so.
But after what you just explained and talked about, actually, I'm kind of forgetting about Drew. I could see Drew win.
You could?
I could.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because I think he could talk a good story too. And he's done well.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, I know he just won the immunity now.
Right.
But he did win. And he's been part of this alliance.
Right.
He chose to be part of this alliance. And they're doing well. And he is a very good speaker. So
you think he could spin it in his favor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I mean, you look at those 4, they all voted the same.
Right. Well, that's part of it too. They say she solely controls it or whatever. This isn't like a Kim or where she's telling them what to. Well, she told Julie what to do, but that's what I'm like. I don't know how any one of them is just like, oh, it's for sure this person, and then these 3 are just kind of here. It's like I don't get that. They're all together. They all decide. I know, like, Austin seems a bit more passive. He still gives his input and stuff, but he does seem more like, well, if you guys think that's the best idea, I'll go along with that. But he still makes moves too,
Yeah,
you know? So
yeah.
it's not that any one of them just says, this is what we're doing and you're dealing with it, you know? And, I mean, Drew was the one to initiate the big Kelly blindside, and that was the biggest blindside of the season.
Yes.
Right, so far. She saw that. She didn't see that coming at all. Bruce knew a little bit. Emily knew a little bit. It wasn't so much a blindside. She had no effing clue, and he's the one who spun it on her.
Yeah.
So
he's got that going for him,
he
too.
can take credit for that one, even if he's not the one dictating every vote. So
Yeah.
Drew has definitely made moves, for
Yeah.
sure. He's the one who kept Emily around for a longer period and everything, too, and he was the one giving her information and everything, so she could be, you know...
helpful.
Yeah, and then now that she's on the jury, she could be more, you know, likely to want to vote for him, too, if he can explain himself well enough. I'm torn. So that's your three? That's Austin, Jake, and Drew. So all three guys for you.
Yeah.
The three remaining men. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's raining men. Hallelujah.
So for me, I'm going to say Austin. I still like the guy. I still would be happy with him winning.
Yeah.
Now that you talked about Drew, because, like, to me, I'm like, I don't know if he's got a shot or not, because people are really, like, in the community, people are really down on him, but I do think he could talk his way into a win. So.
Yeah, and that's the I'm not a huge fan.
Right. You just think he
But
could.
when you ask the question,
Mm-hmm.
who do I would like to see win? Let me
Yeah.
put it this way. I would like to see Austin or Jake win.
Right. And then he's your...
And I'd be okay with Drew
Mm-hmm.
to win.
Yeah.
Because I think he would deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's my can win.
Okay.
Think can win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, I'm going to say Austin. I'm going to want to see win, I'll say Austin. To want to see win, I'd put Drew. If he can overcome this and get it, he fully earned it then. And I just want to see people blow up, be like, really? They gave it to the villain person or whatever? He's not that, their villain standards are low, but he's the closest thing we got to it, you know? And because... you know, I think he's got a lot of opposition right now, so if he can overcome it, I think he definitely earns it and can talk his way to that win. So I'll say Austin and Drew. I keep going back and forth on Drew. So I'll say Austin and Drew for wanna win. And I'm just for the sake of it, because I see it going this way, I'm going to put D on there for can has a good shot at winning. So,
Okay.
The only person, unless they make a move, that I think has no shot is Katurah right now, because she has yet to do anything impressive in this game, other than just be somebody people get along with well enough. But Julie and Jake are super likable, and they've both survived votes as well. No one's voting off Katurah, you know. So never.
And I think there's a reason they want to take her to the end.
Yeah. So never say never, but as of right now, I think she's got the weakest shot at winning out of 6. So I'll leave that as my people. We're already over 50 minutes right now, so I think that's all.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. But I enjoyed talking Survivor with you.
Me too.
Thank you all so much for listening. And as always, we will see you or listen in with you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.